I'm going to just make one short announcement before we begin, and also let you know that in the course of this evening, afterwards there were a couple of people that came up to me last night. It seems like there is something that I said last night that caused just a little bit of confusion. And I will clear it up tonight because we just started. Remember what last night we started with a good, very good concept. And I'm going to go through and explain that. For those of you who weren't here, you missed 4 of the 5 secrets of the universe, and I'm sorry. I can make up for it, or you want to do the very best I can. There's still one universal secret left. One thing I wanted to advertise, this is not something that's part of my ministry or anything like that. It's just something that you learn these things along the way. For those of you who care, and I know this is something that I'm going to be want to be part of on those fateful days that's coming ahead, soon, who knows when. But this is a ministry called Kabra Kadashah, which is basically proper or righteous burials. And unfortunately, I don't mean to bum everybody up, get everybody all melancholy after what we just went through. But this is a ministry out of Texas that comes up in a tent and takes care of that particular time when you have a loved one that has passed away. And they do things properly according to Scripture. They take a huge load off, the ones who are bereaving and going through the mourning and so forth. They take a huge load off of that. And it involves you with your loved one rather than just turning them over to strangers. You know what I mean? So you're all kind of involved in it. And I've already got a couple of testimonies from people that it was just such a sweet, precious thing to see her mother taken care of like this. And it's called, and I'm just going to have it, when the market's open again, whenever that is, we will have some, you just take these with you, and we'll have some of these pamphlets on our table for those who care about it. And you may not care about it now. It may not be a big deal right now, but it may be, when that time happens. And unfortunately, that happens to us all, whether we like it or not. Okay, let's get back into the message tonight. I don't have it up there because it was just difficult for me to see. And so for those of you who have not been here, what we're talking about happens to be shameless promotion and a new series of mine because after being in this walk for 35 years now, I've seen this walk go through a lot of changes. A lot of things have happened. A lot of fads have come in and gone away. A lot of controversies come in and they kind of go away. And I've seen a lot of things change. And one thing I can tell you, that in the last 35 years in this walk, I am just as excited about this walk today as I was the very first day that I understood. I have not changed for 35 years. Like I said, a lot of other things going on, but one of the things that concerns me, as I started this whole thing out the other day, was going to several youth groups, particularly overseas, internationally. It's the same thing I saw here, in which I'm talking with young kids, young men, and young women, and youth groups who have been Torah observant all their life, done all the right things. They go to Sukkot, they go to Sabbath, and they eat clean, do all these kind of things. And once again, I simply ask them to raise their hands. How many of them in the room have asked Yeshua to come into their life and redeem them, free them, and make them a new creation? Remember I said not a single hand went up. Nobody had ever done that. I asked them, how many of you have been immersed? Not a single hand went up. And of course, that's changed in a lot of these congregations now. So here's my concern. My concern is the heart of the matter, that we get back to the heart of all things. The relationship, that committed relationship with the creator of the universe. And so that's what this is all about. What I'm trying to do this week, and as we get into the finish here, is to show you our Father was so desperate to let us know, I believe, so desperate to let us know that grace and Torah have to be one in order to produce life. And that is revealed in every living thing in the universe. Every living thing operates exactly the same way. Everything is interdependent. In other words, they're dependent upon other things, and everything has an order. And that's the way all living things work. And so we're not going to go through some examples of that. In this concept I call good and very good. Now, so what I'm going to do is show you from the very beginning, in the creation, how this concept works. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Paul used the same thing. We're going to go into some passages that Paul says, in which Paul's teaching the same thing. He's saying to his brothers in the flesh, you are getting your cart before the horse, if I can use that term. You have corrupted the order of things. And therefore, there is not life flowing through you, but certainly not abundant life flowing through us. And I see that everywhere I go. I'm not trying to be critical of any one particular congregation, but they're sometimes we're just like dead in the water. I go places, and I mean, it's like they're just like dead from the neck down. I'm praising Him in my heart. I mean, I know there's some crazy things going on in the evangelical, charismatic, TBN, world, Maranatha, the group out of Alaska, Hillsong. I know there's a lot of crazy excitement, but those people are excited. I mean, they got some life in them anyway. And it's very difficult sometimes in this walk to see some real life. I saw it for the first time in a long time tonight. Okay? I saw some, oh my goodness, they're starting to come alive. There's life in this room. Okay? And it was just really cool. It's a really cool thing to see. I can suggest to you that when you dance, there's a world of difference between sitting in the chairs and being up here dancing. Okay? There's just something about it. Of course, I'm always up, usually paying the band and watching the dancers. But one thing I can tell you for sure, after all these places I've been, all around the world, not just here, and watching the dance teams out front, we're up on the stage, and watching the dance teams up there, not one time in 35 years have I ever seen a debate break out on the dance floor. Not one single time, okay? And just to give you another idea, every time I've seen, especially the men, gather together in a circle, grab each other's hands, and pray for their wives and their family and their community and themselves. I've never seen a debate break out there either. Okay? It seems like in prayer and praise, we don't have that kind of stuff. I'm not saying we shouldn't have Bible studies, and don't get me wrong. I'm just saying sometimes when you go to conferences, that's the two big things that they eliminate first. Well, we haven't got enough time because we got to get the speaker stuff in there. Okay, so let's bag the prayers and things like that. And they happen all the time. Okay, I'll stop whining now. Let's get back to my focus. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Because according to the scriptures, that's where the end is, right? Right. So we go back to the beginning. Did I do that? I want to talk you into a word last night. Did we do that to start this? Life? Did we talk about that? See, I forget what time it is almost time. Okay, so I'm going to do it even though I already told you. If I said to everyone, this is a rhetorical question. I hope you all know what that means, okay? If I said to every one of you, if someone came up to you and said, you only get to choose one single word to describe the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation, you only get to choose one, what word would you choose? Now remember, don't tell me, just think about it. Rhetorical. Okay? Just rhetorical means you don't answer. What word would that be? Now, there's a lot of things in the universe. Okay? Not just people. There's flowers and bees and birds and sky and water and things like that. I'm going to suggest to you that logically, the only word it could be is life. The Father is into life. Every statute, every commandment that comes forth from His lips is designed to produce and reproduce life. And when something does not, see, this is where I got myself in trouble. See, most of you just forgot. Because there's certain things that He calls an abomination because they don't produce life. Or they stop the process of life. If you had, for example, if you had only one word to describe the bad guy, what do you think that would be? Yeah, he came to steal and kill and destroy. And the Father came to give us life. Everything is wrapped up. I came into this world to give you life, an abundant life. And so with that in mind, we go back to the creation, and let's go to the first day. The very first day, the Father's going to finish. He's basically going to bring out water and light. Those are basically the two things that come out on the first day. And when He's done with that day, He calls that day good. Right? And here's our problem. The concept of good is the problem. See, there's nothing wrong with the word good in English. It's just a G, two O's, and a D. They're just four little old innocent letters sitting there on the paper. They're not involved in a word-like satanic conspiracy to mess with your mind. They're just four little old letters, okay? But it's the meaning of good over time that changes. See, that's the problem. It's not the word itself. And I'm suggesting that's the way it is with most of your Bible, most of the words in your Bible. There's nothing wrong with the word itself. It's the meaning behind the words. It's authority behind other gods. That's the problem. Not, slipping and saying something. Whoops. That's Greek thinking. I don't know where we get that at. The idea of saying the word wrong is an open sesame thing. It's the whole Greek concept because every god you went to for a different reason. And if you called on the wrong god, okay, you were in big doo-doo. So we transferred that right into Hebrew. Hebrew thought isn't, whoops, I said the wrong word. Okay? Or if I don't say it right, the Father's not going to hear it. Or some kind of thing like that. That's total Western Greek thinking. Hebrews don't think like that. They never thought that like that. And so in the beginning, we had this word good. The word good is an abstract term in English. It means different things to different people. In America, we use the same word to describe our grandmother's chicken soup as we do our Creator. My grandmother's chicken soup is good. God is good all the time. Remember that song? Okay? So we use the same word to describe soup as we do our Father for Keith's sake. Okay? Now some of you will get that joke tomorrow. Okay? I didn't register today. And so it's the meaning behind good. In Hebrew, the word means something completed for its purpose. Something completed for its function or purpose is tov. The Hebrew word is tov. It means something completed for its purpose. So when the Father's done with the day, what does He call it? He calls it, what's He saying? Everything I did that day has a purpose. It's complete. Don't be messing with it. I'm Elohim. You're not. I know what I'm doing. If water is 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, don't be adding oxygen atoms. Don't be subtracting hydrogen atoms because you can come up with a completely different element. And then it ceases to function as it's supposed to because you mess with the graces. So He calls it good. And He's going to do that with the other days as well. Once again, don't add any oxygen molecules to the water because if you do, you'll create something that the sea creatures can't survive in. But if you swim in it in a couple of months, your teeth will be nice and bright and shiny. Right? Because adding an oxygen molecule is hydrogen peroxide. And so therefore your teeth will be nice and bright and nothing else can survive. This is the whole point. So the idea is something for its purpose. So every day that He calls it, He's saying, leave it alone, is complete for its purpose. But there's something He doesn't call every one of those days. He does not call them tov mio. He doesn't call what's translated in English as very good. That word is not going to be used until the whole creation is finished. When the whole creation is finished, now He's going to call it tov mio. Now in English, we look at the word very good, and we just think very good means like super duper duper good. Okay? Because that's the way we think from an English point of view. But in Hebrew, the idea is strength, vitality. It puts the life into it. Some of you may be familiar with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'kol levav v'kol nefeshah v'kol me'odecha. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and all your strength. Me'odecha. So the idea of adding that to it is putting the life into it. So when all of the creation is done, He calls it tov mio, because now it can produce life. Now there's life in it. So in other words, day number 1 meets day number 2. Day number 2 meets day number 3. Each one of the days need each other to be complete and produce life. And then He puts the humans in there. Of course, as some of you will know, they're the problem. Humans are the problem, right? And men began. Only the men. It didn't say and women began. Okay, that's not a good joke. Okay. And men began. There's your problem, because men are the problem. We are indeed the problem. I'm much more scared of men than I am Satan himself. Because I see what men do. You see, now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, well, isn't the problem Satan? Well, yes, okay, I will concede to that. Yet ultimately, he is the problem. But if it wasn't for the men, he wouldn't have a ministry. If it wasn't for the cooperation of the people part, he wouldn't have anything to do all day, and would probably, start taking opiates or something and die. Okay? It's because of us. The men are the problem. Our Father knows that men are the problem, and the bad guy knows that men are the problem. It's the difference.